There we are.
Well, welcome everybody to another exciting, hopefully not too exciting edition of Cambridge Inside Out. I'm Robert Winters.
I'm Judy Nathans.
And today is January 19th. We are on the eve of inauguration.
Yes.
When we last met, we were on the eve of the Electoral College vote, and who would have thunk what was going to happen the following day?
I know.
Yeah, so it's quite amazing. So I hope folks can see some of the, I put some of my political paraphernalia behind me. You know, some things from 1968 election. No, wrong way.
Yeah.
No vote is a vote for George Wallace. That's for the people who are going to boycott the election. They said, if you don't want to vote for Hubert Humphrey, well, that's as good as a vote for George Wallace.
Well, that's what happened with Hillary and Trump.
That's
exactly what happened. Yep.
I also have over this shoulder a George Wallace bumper sticker from that year. My favorite, probably my oldest little piece up here is Kennedy Johnson. That's an original from 1960.
Yeah.
You know, and there's LBJ for the USA as well as a Goldwater Miller here. So anyway,
true elector. What do you call these? Election paraphernalia or
memorabilia.
Memorabilia, that's the word. Yeah.
I mean, I used to be kind of compulsive of picking up bumper stickers, posters, and buttons.
Smart.
I don't do it so much anymore. I sort of pick them up kind of sporadically, but there was a day I had it all, really.
I had a Fenway Park McCarthy poster when McCarthy ran. What was that, 72? Oh, you have that? Yeah. Well, I had a whole poster of, he was doing a rally and it ripped in my travels, because otherwise that would have been worth a lot, I think.
I actually have a Eugene McCarthy poster that says "A breath of fresh air."
Oh, original poster,
Original poster, yeah.
Okay, so you have you got a few
I was looking for that one today, but there's enough upheaval around the house here. It's a little hard for me to find, but
this stuff's worth something. Yeah,
there is something.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
But just so to speak about some topical things, up here on my little button collection here. Something I got to thinking about a lot because of the events that happened in Washington on the 6th of January.
Unbelievable.
So up there, there are some buttons and other things from a time 50 years ago when I was in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you were older?
No, old enough. Yeah, I was at the age of 15, not even 16 yet. And I was, at a protest, an anti-Vietnam War protest on
the steps. You were in D.C. at age 15?
Yeah, on the steps of the United States Capitol. And it was a week where I think not so much in the April 24th rally, but there were these sort of May Day activities.
What year was that?
1971.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah. I remember you. No. It
was this big crowd on the mall, right?
Big crowd with Country Joe and the Fish singing along.
Mobilization for Survival. I had that poster too with the Picasso, the tank from.
I have a lot of it. Yeah. But the reason why I got to thinking about that this week and last week was that, so I was a person who was there, quote, storming the Capitol, but not really.
No, we were on the mall.
Right. But the thing is, it was peaceful protest. But in the days surrounding that, leading up to it and afterwards, there was some, somewhat more, scuffles going on around Washington, D.C. as well.
Oh, I had friends that got tear gas.
Yeah. So the thing is that, so why I got to thinking about it is that, so I'm an example of a person who went to Washington for a protest. There was bad stuff happen, but I wasn't lumped in with everybody else. There was sort of, people were wise enough to make distinctions between the really problematic behavior and just.
And I don't think anyone had guns, did they? Did they have guns?
No. We were peaceniks. We were all hippies at then, back then. So, but you think about the various rallies and protests and whatever you've been on throughout your life. And I've actually kind of reached a point now where I just have no interest at all in going to rallies of any kind anymore. Maybe standing away in the distance just to witness it a little bit. That's about it.
The first one I went to was the Women's March right after he was elected, and we couldn't move for 4 hours. I was stuck in one place for 4. It was so many people that I was there, but it was worth it. And I told you this that the police said it was like herding kittens.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, maybe because of the pussy hats.
The hats. Yeah, right.
And everyone, there was some, anarchists that happened, I think the day, but nothing like, I mean, it was just like amazing.
One thing that I do remember about going to rallies in 1971, of course, we were on a somewhat rather politically different turf than what happened a couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
but it was not a uniform group. The thing is, there were people like me who were there because we were approaching age 18. We were fearful of the draft.
That's still going on.
And whether we're going to run away to Canada or be drafted or whatever. It was sort of a life and death thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, you were a male. Yeah, you were.
Yes, and there was a lot of concern. But the thing is that all of the speech making, whatever, there were labor unions pushing labor issues. There were gender, even then in 1971, people pushing some gender related issues, which was kind of early in terms of that kind of rhetoric at the time. So in other words, it wasn't all there because people are there exclusively because they were opposing the Vietnam War. It was an opportunity.
No, it always brings out a lot of different.
Yeah. So I've sort of learned my lesson then that whenever there are big rallies, don't expect that everybody's of one mind.
Well, it was at the Women's March. I mean, mostly where I was.
I'll agree with you on that. Yeah. Very issue specific. You're completely right about that.
But yeah, I don't. Well, but, now I would, crowds
but
now.
A lot of the activities of last year, there were very legitimate concerns about police violence.
I didn't do any of that. Well, it's COVID. It's COVID.
And then there's COVID, and then there were people who had a kind of a more of a radical political agenda as well. So it's not like you can whenever anybody try and sort of put everybody into a single basket, I just say, I think you really don't understand human beings. So, but anyway, it was interesting. And but tomorrow, what time is the inauguration? It must be like an hour. Is it at noon?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to start coverage around 10 or 11. I don't know, but I know there's going to be activities in the afternoon, but the actual, you're talking about swearing in, is probably around noon, I would think.
It's normally I wouldn't really focus so much on the hour of the day.
Watch it. Yeah.
But because of the outgoing president and the hijinks and shenanigans.
He wants a whole send-off
Right.
But that's going to be earlier. I hope they don't cover it.
But there is a legitimate reason for people to be actually focused on when does his presidential authority actually end? When does the clock strike to whatever, so that what he says means nothing anymore.
I'm just saying he's releasing a farewell video. Well, I'll watch it.
That was done this afternoon. I didn't watch it.
Oh, was it? It's already been done.
Yeah, but the thing is that as many people have talked about, there's an anticipation of this gigantic flurry of late pardons.
Oh yeah.
Right, and that could be interesting.
Sure.
It's been, for me, very interesting to kind of watch the kind of evolution of the Republican Party from being kind of fearful to step out of line to, hey, maybe we can step out of line here, and maybe we really are mad at this guy.
Tell that to the 150 Republicans.
I will
on the Electoral College.
If I live to be 250 years old, I will never understand how that many
a legitimate election. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you can make arguments about the appropriateness of election procedures, whatever, but that's not what that's about at this point.
No, and plus there were all those court cases. Give me a break. It just
I know.
It fed
it's
what
crazy.
happened. It absolutely fed what happened. And I hope they're all voted out, but who knows?
The way I look at it is they won't all be voted out.
No, it's traditionally the other party.
But if they can be relegated to a fraction of the representative body, then that's fine.
At least in the Senate, you had half of the people that were going to object, of course, 2 of them had lost. Although I don't know, Kelly Loeffler didn't do it, but I don't know if the other guy did. David Perdue. I don't know if he actually rescinded his vote, but
well, no, he couldn't, because he couldn't be sworn in until the Georgia results were officially certified.
No, I'm talking about David Perdue.
Oh, Perdue, right? Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I don't know. I think he stuck to his guns, where she, said, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the opening days of the Biden administration.
Yeah.
we're seeing a
He's
lot of
got a lot
previews
on his
about it.
plate.
There
Yeah.
is a lot on
Wow.
his plate.
Oh my God.
And I don't think it's exactly like herding cats, but the thing is that there are a lot of different
Oh,
mouths within the Democratic
oh,
Party.
I would never even use that term at this point. That was all back then. No.
Right, right.
Oh,
But the
oh
thing
yeah.
is
The
that,
whole progressive. Yeah. Right.
right. So, I mean, Biden arguably was elected because he was seen as more of a moderate, but it
Yeah.
doesn't make
But you know what? But Robert, what happened at the Capitol 2 weeks ago?
that changes
Tomorrow,
a lot.
I think that everybody. I mean, AOC. I watched her video thing, and you heard different representatives talk about what they experienced. That shook people to the core. So I think they're going to unite in a way that, at least
I
for
I hope that
now, you know.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm maybe I am a little bit of a Pollyanna about this, but I
Yeah.
think that when,
Yeah.
if you're in the same foxhole together with somebody who you didn't
Exactly.
like before,
Yeah.
uh, it kind of changes things.
Yeah.
And even Republicans and Democrats might actually kind of come together
Well,
on
some of them gave them COVID.
unforgivable, kind of
I mean,
unforgivable.
trying to say, please wear a mask, and then 4 people. I mean, come on,
Yeah, yeah,
unbelievable. And a couple of people have died. I
yeah,
mean, around the country, they're all Republicans.
right.
I mean, the
So,
ones that, were in the electoral.
but here's, in addition to uh, what the Biden agenda, how it really plays out,
Yeah,
we're only getting a preview right now. So
right.
far, it seems pretty reasonable to me. But the other thing too is that this sort of virtual civil war that we're in the midst of, it's you can impeach Trump as they have again.
Yeah,
You might even convict him, right?
that would
But
be
I don't.
great.
But it's, I think it would be great. I agree.
It would
But
deny him certain things. Yeah.
right. But the thing is, the problem goes beyond just the
Oh,
person.
well, of course,
You know, what do you?
But
it-
still, let's at least get rid of the part
I
of the
agree.
cancer.
I cut the head off first, right?
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah,
the thing is that if you've got 70 plus million people who are feeling disaffected, even if it's
hmm,
because they were hoodwinked,
right.
I think you still need to somehow bring them along a bit and see if you can
I
kind
know
of.
that in the latest survey, 60% of Republicans still think what happened was all right. I
Right,
mean,
but yeah, but
or still think the election. Yeah,
I think that number will
people.
continue to shift,
I
and we'll
hope so.
see.
I hope
And
so.
it's, honestly, it's not so much that I care about the party so
Yeah.
much as the individuals, right? I
Oh
mean, if
yeah.
you've got that many people sort of convinced that they're living in a country that's somehow working against them, that's not a
Yeah.
prescription for good times.
No, it isn't.
And
I hope that mellows out. I hope that
yeah,
you
well, I
know.
think that's where leadership comes in. And
Yeah.
prior to January 6th, the rhetoric from Joseph Biden was actually really spot on in terms
Hmm.
of wanting, expressing sincerely wanting to be president of all Americans. And it's kind of hard to use that rhetoric after what happened, but I
I
think
know. But
we still need
also,
to go that route.
like what he did, earlier with the memorial, he acknowledges the loss of so many Americans.
Yeah. And
Where has
his,
Trump been since really before the election? But since the election, have you heard one word about the mounting death toll? Anything to do with
right.
coronavirus? Nothing.
The
That's
man,
unforgivable.
the
No
man,
more, no morality at all.
he is in a class by himself. He really is.
And all of his what do you call
And
them? People that
and
go
by the way,
along with stuff.
my only reservation about impeaching his ass
Yeah.
is that I just want him gone, and I don't want him in the news, and I don't like the fact that even
Well,
still he's managed to somehow be front and center in the news.
he's got $200 million in this pack that is
Yeah,
he can
no,
use
it's
whatever he wants. And
I know,
fools that send him money. Oh God.
yeah.
All right.
So anyway, I'm going to sort of try my best to get beyond it in spite of it all. But
Yes,
boy, what an amazing couple
I
of
know.
weeks this has
Uh,
been.
I, the hits keep coming, and I don't know how much more, between the COVID and then what's happened to our government, and it just, I mean, do they say things come in threes? Please tell me there's already been a three. Oh, climate change, fires, and floods. All right, so it's been three. Let's look beyond. Okay.
Let's look beyond.
Oh my
Yeah, no,
God.
I think really we have no no good choice other than
to
to
keep going,
move forward and look
Yeah.
for better times. And
So Robert, how is our fair city doing?
our fair city is hard for me to understand sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the COVID front, for example.
Yeah.
I want to believe that everything we're doing is right, but the
Mhm.
numbers kept climbing
Yeah,
steadily.
but not compared to some
Not compared
communities.
to some places. So I think largely the fact that we have, as we said a couple of weeks ago, straight line linear growth as opposed to taking off exponential growth, I have to view that as a relatively good thing. There are some indications, not only here, but in other places around the country, that
Yeah.
we may see some leveling. We may already be seeing some peaking. The
Here?
number, yeah, here and elsewhere in
Hmm.
terms of new hospitalizations, number of people hospitalized, it really crested. Now there are going to be some in the places I'm scared to death about Los Angeles area, but
That's been awful.
really
Awful, they
awful.
say.
But the
Yeah.
thing is in many places it's actually, it's been dropping. Some of the indicators have been dropping. And but then comes well, what happens if the more contagious variant comes in? Because
Well, it's more contagious, but it's less lethal, they say.
maybe so. But the thing
Yeah.
is that
More people will get it. Yeah.
one of the things that I think is clear enough, and because you
Mhm.
hear the term super spreader event,
Yeah.
I think the spreading of this very much is related to events and putting a lot of people together and whatever. It's not just sort of,
Enclosed spaces,
yeah, it's
especially.
somewhat different than just catching a cold or the flu.
Right. Right.
And so having a significantly more contagious variant actually
I know.
kind of puts a lot of other things on the table. So the faster that vaccination rollout can happen, the better.
Well, now how do I've been thinking about this, well, other people. I would like to see, at least in Cambridge, the teachers and the kids vaccinated before me, and I am over an age when I would be in front of them. I can take care of myself. I really want to see the kids back in school. I want to see the teachers feel safer, because I know there's right now, it's not good stuff between parents and teachers. And
I
there's a
agree.
school committee meeting going on right now. And I know that 100 people spoke at the last school meeting. So
And
it's
and
contentious. It's
and
really not
I
good.
though
Yeah.
though I didn't hear it
I have
as
not
a
paid
prim
enough attention to, I only hear
well,
about
I
it.
mean, the superintendent of schools has
Oh, he's
announced that he's going
resigning.
to
Yes.
resign at the end of the
Right.
school year.
Right.
And you have to believe that
He's
just the
just had it.
wear and tear of this
Yes.
whole crisis is
Well, also,
part of that.
apparently, there was going to be a vote, maybe, of
A
no
vote of no
confidence. Yeah.
confidence or whatever.
Not just
You know,
him, the school committee, too.
yeah, I think that
Yeah.
school committee member, I mean, I'm not here to defend them. I'm not here to defend this school superintendent. I really don't know enough about it to
Yeah.
accuse or
I don't.
defend.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I do recognize, and I think a lot of people also have to recognize, and in a crisis like this where nobody had any expertise going into it,
Yeah.
nobody had any particular skills about how to handle this going in.
Yeah.
They've been essentially stuck between a rock and a hard place. So,
Yeah.
if you're a school committee member, I mean, I certainly hope you make all the right decisions, but I recognize how it's almost a little bit of a coin flip as about what is right and wrong here. It's and I think the fact that there was one school personnel, forget the gentleman's name, who died,
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
and
Ravenous. James.
yeah,
Yeah.
and when
But they still don't know if he died through contact at the school.
he may
That's
have
what I read.
contracted it
Yeah.
elsewhere, it's true.
He
But
was
the
of an
thing is,
age. Yeah.
but these are not rational matters. These are also
I know.
emotional matters. And so I can completely understand how teachers could just feel scared.
I understand, but it's not all teachers.
I agree.
And it's
I
not
agree.
all parents of kids that don't want their kids. I just feel like it hurts me. It really does, because it's the older kids that I think really need that. I mean, the younger kids, I think, are back in school, some, right? If they up to third grade, they went back January 11th.
I think they were, yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
they did.
Yeah.
That, as far as I know, they haven't stopped that.
I know that there were some changes in plans kind of suddenly.
Right. And it's not all the kids either. It's only maybe half of them, but
Right, exactly. But the thing is
I
that
don't know.
what you said about let's vaccinate the teachers, I would put them front of the line,
They are
because
essential workers. They are
well, there's
frontline
also
workers.
there is a multiplier effect here, in
Yes.
that the
Yeah.
more you can have teachers feel confident in going back to work, the
Right.
simpler it is to actually have the children go
Exactly.
back to school,
Right.
which then relieves so many families of the burden of
Right.
having to handle, basically do their children's education at home. And many people can't go to work, even if they could go to work, because
Right.
they're responsible for childcare. And the thing is that if you can basically take care of the teachers, I think you're addressing multiple sectors of the population all at
If they
once.
go along with it,
If they
hopefully,
go
because
along with it, but
you have a lot of nurses, so the thing is,
yeah.
I really think they should be. I don't know where they are in terms of the line. I don't know if Cambridge can make their own determinations, but I, for one, get them vaccinated, because I think
What
it's more important for the teachers than it is for the students. Although I'd like to see the students also.
Well, it's certain in terms of
Because yeah,
mortality,
right,
it's
because younger
absolutely
people
true.
they're not filling up the hospital beds with
Exactly.
ventilators and stuff.
Exactly.
So
One
I,
other thing that, I'm reminded of how, remember back in April, remember it was all about,
April, oh,
yeah, remember that?
when we thought it would just be a few more weeks.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Yeah.
And, and it's just going to disappear. Yeah.
Oh, well, that,
But remember how everybody was in a panic state about masks, even getting masks. Bob
right.
Kraft was having airplanes
Right.
shipped in
Oh,
from
well,
China, and
well, PPP equipment.
right.
Yeah,
So I keep thinking about that, because
yeah,
I'm reminded how we didn't have any kind of infrastructure in place to actually deal with a crisis when it happens.
yeah,
And we were kind of inventing it and getting
yeah,
the systems all along. Now, people are making masks and putting out
yeah,
products and whatever. It's sort of like it took a while to turn the ship around, but then it took off. There's a lot of concern lately about the rollout for vaccinations,
hmm,
completely legitimate concerns, and people are starting to point fingers at everybody. But I think you're going to start to see something similar, which is that once they
yeah.
start getting the hang of it, it's probably going to go very well.
Well, I
That's-
have to commend Cambridge for getting the testing thing. I mean, they got that
Yep.
going far superior to many other communities that you could get it every day, everyday testing. So, I mean, the difference with this is that it's a 2-shot vaccine. So
Right.
that's a lot of logistical stuff
And the thing is
follow
that
up. Yeah.
before too very long, there'll be at least a third good option. Right now,
Oh, the
I
Johnson
believe
and
that
Johnson and as
yeah,
Zeneca. Yeah,
the
right. Yeah.
Pfizer vaccine. Well, actually, it's AstraZeneca, but
Pfizer and
also
Moderna are
Johnson
the
Johnson.
right.
There's I think one is a 21-day for the second. You got to wait 21 days for the second
Moderna
shot.
is longer
That's
and
28 days.
Pfizer's 3 weeks. Yeah,
Uh,
something 4 weeks. Yeah, whatever.
Right, but the thing is this other one,
It's one shot.
Johnson, one shot, and you can store it in the fridge. And
Well,
in term,
Moderna also doesn't have those deep cold storage things
not
either.
as much, right?
No.
Exactly. But the thing is that once these various options all start rolling out, and you have
Yeah.
multiple venues for distribution, including things like CVS stores, and I heard today Starbucks, at least in one
Oh,
state,
come on.
they volunteered to make them their
They're
places
stores,
available.
but not their baristas, I hope. No.
No, not the baristas, but the thing is the sites, and there are
Yeah.
many of them.
Yeah.
The old
Well,
joke about there being a
yeah,
Starbucks on every corner.
I
Well,
know.
that'll be pretty damn convenient,
I
won't
know.
it?
Well, no,
So,
the CVS actually has already used their
yes,
personnel to go
yeah,
to nursing homes, so that they're pharmacists and whatever. So
right.
they've been a big part of this
So
whole roll.
I think there are, as long as they can keep up the production,
Yes. Well,
uh,
that's it. The production.
ramp it up,
Right.
get the
Yeah.
production really
Yeah.
rolling in
Yeah.
here, I think we may actually go from a stuttering start
Yeah.
to, slipping into third and fourth gear, and then I
So,
think we'll do well.
okay. Do you want to show your graph in this segment of
Yeah, so
COVID?
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let's
just
do
do
that.
a little quick shot
There's just
here
a minute
of
left
where we
segment.
stand.
Yeah.
right now in Cambridge. Again,
Okay.
there was some data glitches over the weekend. I informed them, they've corrected it now. But
You
the thing is,
informed them. Oh my God, there's
yeah,
another death since yesterday.
there
Oh,
was another death. Yeah. So
oh,
the thing is, actually, that was one that was recorded yesterday, but the information they put out yesterday was wrong, and only in
oh,
the evening did it get right. But it's,
really?
it's been more. It's not getting worse. It's just continuing to grow at a steady rate. There is some belief that it may be slowing. That growth may be slowing.
Do we know where that
We are,
death
oh,
occurred?
and I would just want to point out here
Yes,
that from yesterday to today, well, over 2 days,
yeah,
there's actually been a drop of 113 people who are considered active cases,
that's
62
good.
in one day. So the number of
That's good, right?
actually active cases are dropping. Now, how one interprets the graph here that shows the
Mm,
7-day averages, yeah, as you can see, the situation in April is nothing compared to what it's been recently.
right.
And
Oh
then the
my
question
God,
is,
where,
so we sort of thought, oh, it's going to get better, but then it didn't. Then it was going to get better, then it didn't. Then it's going to
what
get
is
better.
that really high point right there?
There
What
was
is
one
that?
day when there was just
Wow,
61 came in, and it's
wow.
averaging in for the 7-day
Okay,
averages.
I
So,
see.
it's a bit of an anomalous situation, but it
Oh,
did happen. Right. So now my personal intuitive sense is that this
yeah,
will start to decline now, but we don't
yeah,
know that, and we don't,
right,
and we certainly can't say that it's due to um, vaccinations yet, because the effects of the
right.
vaccination program have yet to be seen. But as I think we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, at some point you'll actually
Mhm.
start to see measurable
Yes,
uh, uh, data to show
yes.
the role that the vaccine is playing in this
And you know
pandemic.
what has been good that they said because the flu season is milder or people are not getting as much, probably because of masking,
Yep.
that the kids don't have the shot now to go back to school. So that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah. So anyway, let's not be Pollyanna about it. But
No,
the thing
you're
is,
right.
there are some reasons to be somewhat hopeful about
Okay, we
this.
have about 10 seconds left till our second
All
segment.
right. So we'll come
So
back and we'll get down to some more of the
some more
local
nitty
stuff
gritty of
when we return.
city
So
council stuff.
see you
Okay,
then on
see
Cambridge
you
Inside
then.
Out.